What's up, everyone?
It's Dani.
And Nick.
Today we're talking about the best things to see and do in London because we just got back from this awesome trip traveling through Europe and our first destination was London. So we are going to give you all of our best things to see if you are planning a trip to London.
We also daily vlogged while we were there, so if you guys are more interested in behind the scenes and that type of stuff, feel free to check those vlogs out.
Please also give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel down below.
Now let's get into it.
We wanted to start off the video with accommodations. We stayed at the Park Plaza Westminster Bridge. We got a great deal because we booked our flight and hotel in a bundle pack through Expedia, so we would definitely recommend that because we basically got like a night free at our hotel. Yeah. Super nice hotel, very clean, awesome staff. There were 2 restaurants and like a little marketplace inside, so you really didn't have to leave, and awesome room service. There was also a pool, a sauna, a workout room, everything you could want in a hotel, and the location was perfect because you could walk everywhere. There was a tube station nearby, there was a train station nearby, so everything about the hotel was like 10 out of 10, I would say. Yep. And we wanted to also talk about the accommodations, not just to recommend the place, but also so that for the rest of the video, when we're talking about travel times or convenience to where we are staying, you can know that we were staying right by the Westminster Bridge.
So now we want to talk about attractions. My hands down favorite attraction was the Tower of London. The reason I liked it so much is because you really got like an authentic feel. The castle almost has complete unrestricted access. Most of the other museums and things you're doing, a lot of stuff's blocked off. Not at the Tower of London. You can go through basically every single room, and it really feels like you're there during when the castle was a working actual castle and fort. They have great audio guides, so if you're into history like I am, the history is amazing there, and it's presented really, really well. You can either do the audio guide, and they also have a lot of dialogue within each room, like in written format.
My favorite part of it was the crown jewels. You could walk through and see all of the sparkly things that were royal. You couldn't take pictures in there, but that was all right for us. I mean, we truly enjoyed the crown jewels. And just being able to run around a castle and feel like a little kid again and just feel like you were almost royalty, walking through the entrance of the castle, walking in every building and seeing all the artifacts. It just was incredible that they still have all of this stuff.
With the Tower of London, it's also important to remember because it's so big, it takes a lot of time, and with that, you need to buy your ticket a certain amount of hours before it closes. They won't even sell you a ticket, I think, within like an hour and a half or 2 hours of closing. We experienced that. We had to do it a different day than we had planned initially, so definitely give yourself at minimum 2 to 3 hours, and obviously be there that amount of time before it closes.
Also, right next to the Tower of London is Tower Bridge, which was a cool experience to walk across that bridge. I have heard that you can actually go up one of the towers and see from there, but we did not do that. We just walked across and it was still an awesome experience, and you can take cool pictures on the bridge or at the water looking over to the bridge. We did both of those. Just something fun to do, and you might want to walk around the town anyways and just get to see a little bit of everything.
You also get really good views of the Tower Bridge from the Tower of London.
Something that we did the same night as Tower of London, we walked over to Sky Garden. We did purchase our tickets beforehand. It was free, but you had to reserve your spot to be able to go up. So it was about 5 to 10 minute walk from Tower of London. You walk to this building, and then you have to wait in a line with your ticket, and you go up these elevators to see an awesome view. It was like a garden in the sky, as it's called. There was a bar, a restaurant. You could just walk around, and then there was a terrace that you could go off and see the beautiful views of London. That was one of my favorite views, especially because we went at the sunset, so It was just incredible lighting. We got awesome pictures and videos, and it was just fun to walk around. You could see a 360 view, but not from a terrace. Your views were from the inside with glass panels, which was perfectly fine. You could still see really cool things, but it did not compare to St. Paul's Cathedral, which was our next favorite thing.
St. Paul's Cathedral was our all-time favorite view while we were in London. It's a church that was built in the 1600s, so there's so much history there, and it's really cool to see. It's right at the end of the Millennium Bridge, so one, you can see that while you're on the way to the cathedral, and you can also get a really cool picture, more or less from the bridge, with St. Paul's in the background. The ticket that you buy for it also includes admission to the top part of the cathedral itself. There's a lot of stairs you have to take, and there's no lift, but it is definitely worth walking all the way to the top. You get a few different views along the way. The first stop is actually a view that you get to see within the church, so you can see, you know, much closer up to the ceilings, and then you keep going up, and then I think there's 2 different terraces you get to go out on. One's a much larger terrace where you can get a really cool 360 view, and you're pretty high up, but it's the best view is when you go all the way to the top. It's a much smaller terrace, definitely narrower walkway around it, but you're the highest you can go, and that's the best view, in our opinion, in London, because you're getting that 360 view, and you can just see all of London from a different perspective.
And there was no glass or anything around, so you could literally just see straight through the air to see those views of London, where everywhere else that we had a view, there was something obstructing our view.
At Sky Garden, you have the glass panes or just a straight window obstructing your view, and then on the London Eye, which we're about to talk about, obviously you're in a glass ball as well.
The London Eye was incredible. You always hear about this London Eye and you're not quite sure what it is, but it's basically a giant Ferris wheel, but not a ride that you're sitting on. It has these giant igloo-like things that are just totally glass all the way around. About 15 other people are with you on it. You are standing, and it's a 30-minute rotation. One time around, you get to see a little bit of everything. It's so fun, and they take a picture for you if you don't bring a camera with you, but definitely bring your own camera because you see awesome views from up there.
And it's not really overcrowded. Like, yes, they're putting 15 people in it, but it's a pretty big glass, like, sphere or oval thing that you're in. So it's not overcrowded. However, you do have to, you know, kind of fight your way to get some of the best views and if you want a picture and something like that. But it's not overcrowded. We walked by the London Eye most days, and there was always a line waiting outside, so just plan that into your time. They are timed tickets that you buy, and they have a little kiosk right next to the London Eye where you can buy your tickets.
Or you can buy them online.
Or you can buy them online. But just plan that line wait time into your schedule. Obviously, the Fast Pass is going to be faster. It's, I think, 10 more pounds or something like that to do. We thought it was worth it, but just plan the line into your schedule. My next favorite attractions was the British Museum. It's a fantastic thing to do on a rainy day. We did it while it was raining, and it is a free museum that you have in London. It has so much history. If you're into that in museums, you cannot miss this one. And it has one of the most famous pieces of archaeology ever found, which is the Rosetta Stone. There's so many other things there as well, and you could spend an entire day in the museum.
The layout was so well thought out. Each thing had a specific section. So if you wanted to see Egypt, you went here, and if you wanted to see India, you went over here. Everything was perfectly laid out, and there were so many artifacts in there. It was crazy. There were a lot of people, but it wasn't overly crowded either. Because it's so big, you felt like you had your own space to walk around. You could spend so much time in this museum. So definitely plan out a full day there, or at least half of a day if you don't have a full day to spend somewhere, just so you can see all of the things that the British Museum has to offer. It's also really close to King's Cross Station, so if you would like to go see something from Harry Potter, platform 9 3/4 was right there in King's Cross Station. You did have to pay to go take a picture there, so the line was pretty long too. We didn't wait in it, but it was still cool for Nicholas to go see that and just see King's Cross Station because that's what's in Harry Potter. A hidden museum that we had not heard about but stumbled upon was the Victoria and Albert Museum, which was pretty similar to the British Museum in the fact that it was laid out in those sections that I said were so nice to be able to see different parts of the world, but totally different artifacts and obviously less crowded because we had never heard of it before, so it was a little bit more intimate to us, and a giant museum as well to see different artifacts in the heart of London.
It's also right next to the Natural History Museum, so that's where a lot of the crowds go. So if you are looking for a less crowded museum, again, it's free. It's right next to the Natural History Museum. Another famous church that you can go to, obviously you guys have all heard of it, is Westminster Abbey. It's basically right on the other side of the Westminster Bridge from where we were staying, really close to Big Ben as well. It's a very famous abbey and a beautiful church. It's unlike any church I've ever been in. There's so much marble artwork in there, and it's just something that you can't miss. You do have to pay to go in it, and it was kind of pricey and crowded, but it's definitely worth seeing. There's also a lot of very famous people buried there.
2 fun things to do at nighttime are Ice Bar and Piccadilly Circus. So the Ice Bar was something that I had seen all over social media and Instagram, so it was something I really wanted to do. We did not book our tickets ahead of time, and we did not need to, but I think on a weekend it would be important to do that because they do only let a certain amount of people inside the ice room. So basically you go through these doors that open up and it is all ice. The bar, the chairs, the table, everything. Yeah, the glasses that you're drinking out of, everything is ice. It's cold in there, but they give you a cape and there's music playing and lights flashing. It was just something fun to do, and we were in there for about 30 minutes and then your time's up. And there was a restaurant there too if you're interested in eating there. And then we walked over to Piccadilly Circus, which was basically like a mini Times Square in London. The moving billboards, lots of lights, lots of activity, people playing music, shops to go check out, little bit of everything in Piccadilly Circus. So something fun to do at nighttime to walk around and see all of those lights.
If you have extra time while you're in London, I would highly recommend taking a day trip. We did a day trip to Windsor Castle, Stonehenge, and the city of Bath.
All 3 in the same day.
All 3 in the same day, and we used a travel company. It was the easiest thing to do just because of the transportation. The company we used let us basically have free reign at each place, and we did have enough time, in my opinion, at each place to still see everything that we wanted. The order that we did it in was Windsor Castle, Stonehenge, and then Bath. Windsor Castle, you're going to the Queen's outside residence outside the city of London, and she goes there pretty often, a lot of times on the weekends. Windsor Castle is the biggest and oldest working castle in the entire world. So you get to walk around the castle similar to the Tower of London and see a lot of it. It is a little bit more restricted because royalty and the Queen still lives there on occasion. But you get to go into the church where Prince Harry is going to get married, and a lot of the other royalty of the royal family have been married. You get to see the state apartments and the Queen's dollhouse, where a ton of artwork is and a ton of, great old furniture and history is as well. Windsor Castle was the first stop because it is the closest to the city of London. It's about 45-50 minutes in a bus to get there. The next stop is Stonehenge. It's about an hour and a half further from Windsor Castle, and there's not a ton to see there other than just the rocks that are there, but it's basically a 5,000-year-old little circle of rocks that we still don't really understand the meaning of, and obviously it's one of the most iconic landmarks in the entire world, so it's definitely worth going to see, and we really enjoyed it. You don't get that much time there. We got about an hour, but that was plenty of time to see everything there. They have a really nice visitor center and a little exhibit there as well.
The exhibit was really helpful in learning more about what they do know about Stonehenge, different artifacts and writings that they found, and you could also walk into one of the old huts, which was really cool.
From Stonehenge, you go to the city of Bath. Again, I think it's in about another hour within the bus. The city of Bath is famous for a bunch of things, but mainly the Roman baths. The Romans, while they were living there, they made this huge public bathworks because there was a huge hot spring within the city of Bath. So they literally had hot baths while they were there some 2,000 years ago. There's also a really big cathedral right next to the Roman baths, which is beautiful to see as well. So if you do have time in London, I would highly recommend that day trip. I think that was my favorite overall day while we're in the city of London.
And the company that we used was Evan Evans. We would recommend them. The tour guide was awesome, very helpful, and they gave you most freedom to do what you wanted in each location. They basically were just a transportation company for getting us from place to place and us not having to worry about taking the train. The train would be more expensive. We looked into it. The company made the most sense and was super easy for us to do, and they had a guide for you at Stonehenge as well, which was helpful in learning more about it, and we could hear the guide while we were going there to prepare before we arrived, have more information so that once we were there, we could focus on what was in front of us.
Yeah, it was great because with the guide giving you the information while you're on the bus, then you get the freedom while you're in the locations. The ticket prices were included in the overall ticket that we bought with Evan Evans, so it's not like we were showing up and having to purchase tickets to get into the Roman baths, for instance, or Windsor Castle. That came with the price, so definitely from the expense standpoint, with the transportation and ticket cost, it made no sense to do it any other way.
Lastly, we would like to mention some of our favorite restaurants. So as we said, we stayed near the Westminster Bridge, so some of our favorites near there were xoxo, which was an Italian restaurant that we went to multiple times because it was so delicious.
I think it's rated like the top 10 Italian restaurants in London to go to.
Yeah. We also loved Westminster Kitchen and Grill, and then St. Stephen's, which was a local pub. Near King's Cross Station, we loved Skinner's Arm. It was a local favorite. So many people who live in London were there with us.
Very crowded.
Talking, yes, very crowded. Many craft beers to choose from there.
Great fish and chips.
Yes. And then lastly, in Kensington, we loved Bunch of Grapes. We know this isn't an extensive list. We just wanted to mention some of our favorites if you are interested in visiting some of the restaurants that we enjoyed. So that's what we have for you about our best things to see and do in London. As we said, we were traveling through Europe. So from London, we went to Edinburgh, Scotland. So that will be our next video.
So if you guys have any questions about best things to see and do in London, please don't hesitate to leave us a comment down below. We'd be happy to answer it. While you're down there, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye, guys.